Hey everybody, it's Old School Nerd. We're back again for another reaction. This one I have been warned about. This one, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this one, but so many people have asked me to do this one. It's time. This is going to be Five Finger Death Punch, Wrong Side of Heaven. From what I've been told and the research that's been given to me, I haven't seen this video. I've heard this. I've heard part of the song. On because my it's kind of weird. My 16-year-old was into nightcore music, which is where they take metal music and they speed it up. So she's really into that. So we will see how that works. But yeah, she's really into nightcore stuff. So so I've heard this song before, but it was sped up. But I've never seen the video. And the people who requested this were friends of mine who are veterans, and they're friends of mine who have lost friends of theirs who are veterans. Those of you who know me, I'm a veteran, but not of a foreign war. I was actually deployed to Bosnia-Herzegovina during the 1990s for volunteer for peacekeeping and medical support. Essentially, I was assigned to a refugee camp where I did medical support for the refugees and to see the children injured, maimed, all these people that were sick and starving and dying and just living in absolute horrible conditions because of what they believed or because of their religion was horrible. So I still have some nightmares about that, but I wouldn't necessarily say I have combat PTSD. Now, for those of you who who don't know a lot about my history, my father was in Vietnam. He was on a special river boat crew. For those of you who have ever seen some of the movies where they have those patrol boats that with all the guns on them, and they go in and they deploy SEALs or special forces and then run in and get them out, and that's what my dad did. My dad was a gunner, and then he got his captain's license and became an ensign in the Navy, and was a boat captain in the Delta in Vietnam. My mother got pregnant for me in 1973. My dad came home in 1973, and from the time that she got pregnant to the time I was 1 year old, my father's PTSD, which was not known back in the 70s as PTSD. It's only through modern medicine and our looking at the mental health of our soldiers do we find out that PTSD exists. My mother was so fearful for her safety and my safety that she left my father when I was 1. Not because he was a shitty person, but she feared for her life because he would struggle day to day with it. So this song is apparently in a support or about our veterans and the post trauma that they deal with when they come home. I have friends, and I volunteer my time to an organization here in Louisiana where we actually help homeless veterans find shelter and food and opportunities as much as possible, and coordinate with the VA. I do volunteers my time and donate to the cause because they're forgotten people. Now, from what I've heard, Five Finger Death Punch has at least one member of the band who is either ex-military or he's currently in the military as an instructor in hand-to-hand combat. I'm like, so when all of you suggest these songs for me to react to, I get all this extra info, and I'm like, what? There's like a member of Five Finger Death Punch who actually teaches hand-to-hand combat to special ops in the Army or the Special Forces or Rangers or something, and I'm like, okay. But apparently the military and the veterans are very close to this band's heart. So I'm scared. I really don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to get the beard out of the way. Let's see what happens. I'm not crying already, I promise. I have a sinus infection. I don't think it'll help. My sinuses may drain for this one. Okay, so if you'd like to, please subscribe. Like the video, especially if the cause that they're talking about here is important to you. Put a like, make sure people see this. Check out Five Finger Death Punch, of course. The link to this video will, of course, be in the description below. Let's get at this, because this one I already know is going to be difficult. So, the ones you love the most are the ones willing to fight for you. Yes, it's true. It's true. And the number's probably higher. This song's 5 years old. Yeah. I run into these guys every day. I used to work downtown here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we'd have veterans and homeless veterans that would go to the shelter at night, and then during the day they would cross through downtown to go to the library where they could get out of the heat or get out of the cold, depending on what time of year it was. When I would arrive from work, you could always tell the ones that were veterans. They would say hello, or and give them, I had some change or whatever, or I went and I got these little gift certificates to a Subway sandwich shop, which is downtown right next to the library. And I told them at 11 o'clock to go to meet me there. And if they were too afraid to go in, because some of them were not clean per se, I would go in there and I'd buy them a sandwich, and sometimes it's all they need is just someone to know that's looking out for them. But all this stuff, it's real, man. It's real stuff.
I spoke to God today, and she said that she's ashamed. What have I become? What have I done? I spoke to the devil today, and he swears he's not to blame. And I understood, 'cause I feel the same. Arms wide open, I stand alone. I'm no hero, and I'm not made of stone. Right or wrong, I can hardly tell. I'm on the wrong side of heaven, and the righteous side of hell.
You notice how the song is really, really the lyrics hurt. But one thing that I did notice was in this Humvee, you've got the driver, who's obviously the team leader with the beard. He's got his hat on. A little bit of he's not kind of following that standard military protocol. He may be a little special ops guy. Then you have, and it's his thing. He's 100% in this military world. Like, you could tell that that's his life. But the other three guys in the vehicle, they all kind of have we've all seen them. Those of us who are veterans, we know these three types of soldiers. You have the one guy who's the African American guy. He's portraying the person he's volunteered, sense of duty, but he's gonna do his job. He's gonna do it well, but it's not his. He's not all like, he didn't join the military to see how many people he could kill, right? It's true. Then you have the guy who, reservist, family man, National Guard, maybe not full-time military, but he's thinking about back home. He's thinking about his daughter. He's thinking about his family. And sometimes it's really hard to be gone from your families because you lose yourself when you're deployed. You really do lose yourself. At least you lose what you were, and you take on so much. And then the third soldier is just your typical asshole. Okay, here's the thing. We think of our military just like we think of our police officers or our firemen or doctors, nurses, whatever. Here's the thing. All these different people that we look up to, whether you're a teacher, a soldier, a medical person, politician, it doesn't matter what your job is. You're still a human first. And the law of averages says that every type of person can have every type of job. So when we say things like, oh, the police are horrible, is it all the police are horrible, or that there are some members of the police department that are assholes? Law of averages is going to happen. I mean, we know people on YouTube that are assholes. But the military does have those situations where you get, like when in the beginning of that video where they had the one guy and he's looking at the nudie pictures on the porn, he's holding porn mag, and he's like, yeah. And then the guy who's driving the vehicle is like, dude, God, you know, like, grow up. So you have all different types of people in the military. The one thing they all have in common is they're serving. Nobody in the military is forced to do it. We don't have conscription in the United States. Every person that is in our military forces is a volunteer. Yes, they get paid, but they volunteer to be part of it. So for whatever the reasons are, all these men and women volunteer to serve their country for whatever reason. Some reasons are noble. Some reasons are because of a situation they're trying to get out of. Some reasons are because they have nothing else to in their future to look for, so this is their step. And I think it's really interesting that they showed all four of those different types of volunteers you see. And that's real. That's real.
The wrong side of heaven and the righteous side,
English. That's the guy with his picture of his kid.
I heard from God today, and she sounded just like me. What have I done, and who have I become? I saw the devil today, and he looked a lot like me. I looked away, I turned away.
That's real, man. That happens a lot. You don't know, a lot of people don't know that when you serve in the military, sometimes you come back different. A lot of times you come back different. And sometimes because everyone's human, okay? You go serve and you leave your family for 6 months, a year, year and a half, not by your own choice. And you go over there, and while you're gone, your spouse, your kids, your family are left behind to fend for themselves. And sometimes when you introduce the volatility and the distance and the time away, they come back and they can't work it out. It's horrible. I mean, that's what happened to me. You know, I grew up distance from my father for years because of the struggle with his PTSD. Now, I'm not saying that this guy has PTSD and that's why he got divorced, but he's obviously torn apart because, and this is why it hits me, because as a dad of girls, of my 3 daughters, they're everything to me. So I feel this. I feel this. There were quite a few years where I didn't have custody of my 2 older daughters. And I struggled every day not being around them. And I could just imagine when you're a guy and your whole world is your little girl, you come back and she's not there. This was that guy that was with the holding the porn, and he was just being kind of, and he's obviously has, he's portrayed, not saying obviously, but he's portrayed the fact that he has anger issues already. Then you add PTSD on top of that, and you take away the aspect of a future. And a person who's already slightly unstable to begin with and doesn't have a lot of conscience This is what happens. People think that these homeless vets are just all crazy people, and they're not. They didn't start off this way. Just working medical aid to refugees changed me forever. And I was never in a firefight combat. I mean, the most I was ever involved in was a rescue mission when a armored vehicle flipped over into a minefield. But this here is it's a scary damn ride.
Not defending, downward descending, falling further and further away. Closer every
They don't.
I'm getting closer every day. To the end. To the end, the end, the end. I'm getting closer every day. Arms wide open. I stand alone. I'm no hero.
Okay, this is poignant right here. A lot of these guys who are so amazing in their jobs in the military. At some point that ends. But that's all they know. They're amazing leaders. They're amazing planners. Their ability in combat and skills is just amazing. But when that career ends, what do you come home to? And a lot of these very skilled, amazing men are the ones that the group that I help volunteer for, we search for these amazing men that are good leaders, but they were never received an opportunity when they came home, so they're just got nothing. Their whole life was their service and how good they were at it. Then you see the other guy who may have joined the military to pay for college. Then he goes off to college and he gets his career and he's successful. But this scenario where they cross paths may never happen.
And I'm not made of stone. Right or wrong, I can hardly tell. I'm on the wrong side of heaven and the righteous side of hell. The wrong side of heaven,
Saved my life, baby.
righteous side of hell. The wrong side of heaven and the righteous side of hell.
Of course he did. Yeah, please everyone, look at this list. Why we fight for war, why we fight in wars is a political decision. Normally made by evil or greedy people, bureaucrats. But they're not the ones who fight those wars. It's people like you and me. And so many times, the people who send us on these wars could care less what happens after. I'm just happy that there's all these organizations that are trying to fill in that gap. Oh man. Jeez. If you know a veteran, if you know someone who's been affected by PTSD from veterans, if you understand that it has nothing to do with their politics, this is what their job was, this is their duty. And Rock for the Fallen is actually one of the organizations I give to. And I'm a member of the Battle Buddy Foundation. We so are. The thing about it is that this is something a lot of people don't realize. I remember names and faces of people that I went to basic training with. We're talking like 28 years ago. I saw and went to basic training, and the people you're deployed with, the people you go to AIT with, the people you go on missions with, the people that you spend your time through, some of your dark moments, some of your happy times, some of your, oh my God, did we just do that times? You don't forget those people. But another thing that crosses barriers is a lot of you have seen my live streams with a guy by the name of Michael Alvarado comes online. Mike and I both served in the military. He was a Marine. I was in the Army. We never served together, but we can look at each other and we know there's a service, there's a bond you have with the people that you know served with you. That's kind of a thing. And I know all of you out there who are veterans, and those who know veterans, family members of people in the military, you understand what's going on. My biggest concern and my hope for all of you is those who don't know what it's like to serve in any military anywhere in the world. I don't care which country you're from. To serve in one's military is an honor for those who get to do it, but it takes a serious toll. For me, my military service helped me. It developed a sense of purpose. It developed a sense of responsibility. It developed a sense of maturity and the ability to look at any situation and know that if I focus, give effort, I can overcome anything. That's what I got from my military service. Not all of us are that lucky. Some of us find careers afterwards through skills we gain in the military. But not all of us get that. A lot of us don't get a next step after the war's over. And we think about those people. My God, this one was bad. Please check out Five Finger Death Punch on a lot of the things they do. I know that there's quite a few videos that I just they're about this, and that's awesome. Okay, wow, I made it. I made it. I only cried a little. That's not true. I bawled at the end there. My name is Old School Nerd, and I'm a veteran. If you know of any veterans that are struggling, even if you can't help in ways that you think you should, just a kind word. If you find a veteran on the street, someone you don't know, go up to them and say, thank you for your service, or you can go up to them and say, never forget. Because that's something that if you say never forget to a veteran, they know exactly what you're talking about. And they know that means that you're not going to forget them. And sometimes just a word is enough to turn a day around. Because when you're a veteran with PTSD, it is literally one day at a time. So, my name is Old School Nerd. And yes, I'm old. You're never too old to appreciate a good message. And thank you, Five Finger Death Punch, for sharing that message. I got to get out of here. The idea is to stop crying, not start crying all over again.